Hey there, dessert lovers! Are you ready to dive into the world of creamy, dreamy cheesecakes? Today I'm going to show you how to make 5 incredible flavors right in your own kitchen. We've got passion fruit, lemon, chocolate, strawberry, and peach. Oh yeah, it's happening. First up, let's tackle the basics. For the crust, you'll need 2 cups of graham cracker crumbs, 1/2 cup of melted butter, 1/4 cup of sugar. Mix these together and press them into the bottom of a 9-inch springform pan. Pop that in the fridge while we move on. For the cheesecake base, you'll need 4 packages, 8 ounces each of cream cheese softened, 1 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 4 large eggs, 1 cup of sour cream, 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Beat the cream cheese until it's smooth. Add the sugar and vanilla and mix until combined. Then add the eggs one at a time, beating well after each addition. Finally, stir in the sour cream and flour until smooth. Now, let's get creative with our flavors. Passion fruit cheesecake, 1/2 cup of passion fruit pulp, a few drops of yellow food coloring. Fold the passion fruit pulp and food coloring into 1/5 of the cheesecake batter. Pour it over the crust and bake at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees Celsius for 50 minutes. Lemon cheesecake, zest and juice of 2 lemons. Mix the lemon zest and juice into another 1/5 of the batter. Pour it into the pan and bake at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees Celsius for 50 minutes. Chocolate cheesecake, 1 cup of melted dark chocolate. Stir the melted chocolate into the next portion of batter. Pour it over the crust and bake at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees Celsius for 50 minutes. Strawberry cheesecake, 1/2 cup of pureed strawberries, a few drops of red food coloring. Blend the strawberry puree and food coloring into another 1/5 of the batter. Pour it in, and you guessed it, bake at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees Celsius for 50 minutes. Peach cheesecake, 1/2 cup of pureed peaches, a few drops of orange food coloring. Mix the peach puree and food coloring into the final portion of batter. Pour it over the crust and bake at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees Celsius for 50 minutes. Once these beauties are out of the oven, let them cool completely, then refrigerate for at least 4 hours. Patience, my friends, the wait will be worth it. And there you have it, 5 mouth-watering cheesecakes you can make at home. Share them with friends or keep them all to yourself. I won't judge. But wait, there's more. Let's talk about frosting and decorating ideas to make these cheesecakes even more irresistible. For a classic touch, pipe some whipped cream around the edges. Drizzle chocolate ganache over the chocolate cheesecake for an extra layer of decadence. Top the fruit-flavored cheesecakes with fresh fruit slices for a vibrant look. Add a drizzle of caramel sauce to the peach cheesecake for a sweet finish. And for a touch of elegance, garnish with edible flowers. Now let's make 5 delicious cakes. Welcome back, dessert enthusiasts. If you thought the cheesecake adventure was delicious, wait until you see what we have in store for you next. In this chapter, we will explore 5 mouth-watering cake recipes that you absolutely need to try. Sponge cake with cream filling and strawberries, chocolate log cake, banana cake, rainbow cake, and forest cake. First up, let's dive into the sponge cake with cream filling and strawberries. For the sponge cake, you'll need 4 large eggs, 1 cup of granulated sugar, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Beat the eggs and sugar together until light and fluffy. Sift the flour and baking powder together, then fold into the egg mixture. Add the milk and vanilla extract, mixing until smooth. Pour the batter into a greased and floured 9-inch round cake pan and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 degrees Celsius, for about 25 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. Let it cool completely. For the cream filling and strawberries, 1 cup of heavy cream, 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 cup of sliced fresh strawberries. Whip the heavy cream, powdered sugar, and vanilla extract together until stiff peaks form. Slice the cooled sponge cake in half horizontally, then spread the whipped cream on the bottom layer. Arrange the sliced strawberries on top of the cream, then place the top layer of the cake back on. Next, we have the chocolate log cake. For the chocolate sponge, 4 large eggs, 1 cup of granulated sugar, 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Beat the eggs and sugar together until thick and pale. Sift the flour, cocoa powder, and baking powder together, then fold into the egg mixture. Pour the batter into a lined jelly roll pan and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 degrees Celsius, for 12-15 minutes. While it's still warm, roll the cake in a kitchen towel dusted with powdered sugar. Let it cool completely. For the chocolate filling and frosting, 1 cup of heavy cream, 1 cup of dark chocolate chips. Heat the cream until it just begins to simmer, then pour it over the chocolate chips. Let it sit for a minute, then stir until smooth. Unroll the cooled cake, spread some of the chocolate ganache inside, then roll it back up. Cover the outside with the remaining ganache. Now let's move on to the banana cake. For the banana cake, you'll need 2 cups of mashed ripe bananas, 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 2 large eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Mix the bananas, sugars, oil, eggs, and vanilla together until well combined. Sift the flour, baking powder, baking soda, and salt together, then fold into the banana mixture. Pour the batter into a greased 9x 13-inch pan and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 degrees Celsius, for 35 minutes. Let it cool completely. For the cream cheese frosting, 1/2 cup of butter softened, 8 ounces of cream cheese softened, 4 cups of powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Beat the butter and cream cheese together until smooth. Gradually add the powdered sugar and vanilla, beating until creamy. Spread the frosting over the cooled banana cake. Next up, the rainbow cake. For the rainbow cake, you'll need 6 large eggs, 2 cups of granulated sugar, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, food coloring in red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Beat the eggs and sugar together until thick and pale. Add the milk, oil, and vanilla, mixing until combined. Sift the flour and baking powder together, then fold into the egg mixture. Divide the batter evenly into 6 bowls, coloring each with a different food coloring. Pour each colored batter into its own greased and floured 8-inch round cake pan. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 degrees Celsius, for 15-20 minutes. Let them cool completely. For the buttercream frosting, 1 cup of butter, softened, 4 cups of powdered sugar, 1/4 cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Beat the butter until creamy. Gradually add the powdered sugar, milk, and vanilla, beating until smooth. Stack the cooled rainbow cake layers with a thin layer of frosting between each. Cover the entire cake with the remaining frosting. Finally, the forest cake. For the forest cake, you'll need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 cups of granulated sugar, 3/4 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 large eggs, 1 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 cup of boiling water. Combine the dry ingredients in one bowl and the wet ingredients in another, except for the boiling water. Mix the wet and dry ingredients together, then slowly add the boiling water, mixing until smooth. Pour the batter into 2 greased and floured 9-inch round cake pans and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 degrees Celsius, for 35 minutes. Let them cool completely. For the cherry filling and whipped cream frosting, 1 can of cherry pie filling, 2 cups of heavy cream, 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Whip the heavy cream, powdered sugar, and vanilla together until stiff peaks form. Spread the cherry filling between the 2 cake layers, then cover the entire cake with the whipped cream. And there you have it, 5 delicious cakes that are sure to impress. Whether you're baking for a special occasion or just because, these recipes will surely satisfy your sweet tooth. Happy baking!